But with that said, let's move on to the gauntlet. Now, we had a kind of a hot take reaction last time in terms of what it means to be a swordsman. So, the gauntlet better swordsman edition. We talk about sword technique, sword ability. Let's not worry about how powerful the guy is, but how good they are with the sword. And the person we're going to be using for this one is Tanjiro. Better swordsman edition, Tanjiro edition. First person up is Guts.
Guts, bro.
God, this is what set it off, because I remember this is what set it off in the Discord, Ty. So somebody was like, Tanjiro is a better swordsman than Guts.
Easily good.
And I was like, it's
So, like,
Guts.
who can beat who, or like who is better at sword?
Better
play?
swordsman.
No, Guts is a better swordsman.
I still think Guts is a better swordsman.
Million freaking. He's been training as a swordsman since he was like what 5?
He was on the battlefield when he was 6.
Yeah, and then
that's cool.
And then also people, I don't know if you were going off how flashy he is, even though Guts can be very flashy. We see Guts when he has one arm and bad vision, cutting leaves and shit perfectly as a font. Like, bro, he's a master swordsman. He's been training in the sword for over almost 2 decades. What?
Yeah, I don't want people to confuse that the fact that like Tanjiro has a bunch of moves, but he also has like a blade that's like maybe like a 10th of the size and weight of the sword that Guts uses. So yeah, the katana is going to look more flashy because it's lighter.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Give me Tanjiro.
Give me
Tanjiro. Stop it.
Guts blocks one attack from Tanjiro. His sword's broken.
That's not what we're talking about, Random.
No.
Talking about swordsmanship. We talking about swordsmanship.
I got you, Random. I got him. See, this is a problem.
It's not a battle of who will win a fight.
They think that because Gus is like stronger than Tanjiro, that they diminish his sword skill. He fights freaking monsters like Zod. Zod is also a skilled swordsman who is way more powerful, and he was able to parry and deflect Zod's attacks. Bro, are y'all
okay? But I could also say kind of the same thing. Tanjiro's out here fighting demons he's mortal, fighting legitimate demons. He's fighting the same.
Guts is also mortal.
What?
He's fighting. All I'm saying is the same way you're saying that Guts has feats for what he does in Berserk, and obviously I haven't read Berserk, so I'm not trying to dispel nothing you're saying, but I'm just, in terms of what I know about Tanjiro, these demons he's been fighting in his whole career in Demon Slayer as a demon slayer, whatever. All them shits have been way stronger than him.
They're not stronger than apostles. They're not.
I'm not comparing it to that, bro.
That's the point.
There is still a massive scale between what Tanjiro's fighting and the demons he's fighting against. It's still a massive scale, bro.
I get what J-Rob's saying.
It's taking a massive amount of skill and concentration, his breathing, all of these things that he has to do to fight these superhuman demons.
Great point.
That's the only thing I'm saying, bro.
Give Guts an inhaler, he can breathe the same way.
What?
That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to discredit Guts for nothing. I don't want to even sound like I'm trying to discredit Guts. But the conversation is purely about swordsmanship, not really feats. And so all I'm saying is Tanjiro versus the demons he's had to face, he's truly been outmatched. And he's had to hone in, same way Guts has, I'm assuming, time. But Tanjiro has had to survive solely on what he's learned through his training and finding ways to make it work against these monsters. And also, Tanjiro fights a lot on his natural God-given just battle instincts. I'll give him that too. He has like natural, great God-given instincts.
I think Guts' way of fighting with the sword, it's dirty. It's not. It looks dirty. It is dirty because that's what Tanjiro's swordsmanship is cleaner. It looks better, but Guts is just as good. If not, in my opinion, he's better. He's also been doing this obviously way longer. He's been fighting his threats just like Tanjiro's threats. His threats are crazy, and I just think because it just looks ugly. It's not the way we would like it to be, and also the fact that he's carrying something that is just it's not even practical. I get
chill. I'm a great sword user in Monster Hunter, so I get the big sword trope. I'm a great sword user. There's a great sword in Monster Hunter, so I get the big sword trope.
You dropped that hammer. You dropped the hammer.
Yeah, that hammer's dead.
I have a question for Random. Does it look ugly?
I think to the casuals it does. To the casuals it does.
Hey, hold on a second. I think Guts. I think that it only would look quote unquote ugly if you're saying that Miura just draws more vulgar art, so he's cutting people's heads off. That's what you mean.
It's the casual.
No,
It's
but
a,
Ty,
I
it
think if
also
you
doesn't
ask a
compare
casual
to
person,
what
they'd rather
style
fight like
Dan,
Tanjiro
Man,
than Guts.
man, Todd, stop hating on Tanjiro, man. You're a real one, bro.
If we're talking,
Hey, I'm
hey,
gonna
you're not gonna catch me,
co-sign.
J-Rob. It's over with, bro. You're not gonna catch me.
I'm
Nah,
I'm
but
gonna.
I will say, Todd, my opinion could change once I read this story.
It definitely could if you read Berserk.
Right. He
I'm
was
not gonna say that's my
when
opinion
he
set in
was
stone.
dueling when he was dueling Griffith, another master swordsman. Griffith felt like I have to kill Guts to stop him, right? And Guts beat him, broke his sword, and only gave him a slight bruise on his shoulder to be able to defeat him. Like Griffith had to go all out, and he said, "You know what? I might kill Guts." Guts had the precision and the accuracy and the control to be able just to break his sword and not give Griffith any damage. He's wait.
And we've seen how nasty Griffith is with the sword.
So I mean, Griffith is cool. My biggest thing is, and I co-sign a lot of things that J-Rob is saying. Well, also Tanjiro learned sun breathing, which is a technique from the greatest swordsman in Demon Slayer history. So, I mean, Tanjiro, I think the biggest thing that I value in this conversation is the technique is such an unnatural technique. There's nothing that exists in the real world when it comes to breathing sword skills and abilities. And they created this whole unique technique to defeat demons. Now, from my understanding from Guts and Griffith, yeah, their swordsmanship is great from what we understand of swordsmanship in like the natural world. I think I value the fact that there's this unique technique that makes you go beyond what you are because of this unique breathing style that enhances your movement and your skills.
With
And
major repercussions, by the way. Make sure you say that
that's-
major repercussions as well to their bodies.
Hey, yo,
exactly. So I
Random,
value that, and that's why I'm
Random,
picking Tanjiro.
Hold on a
But,
second. I'm sorry. They say you're not bro. He's fighting apostles. There's
oh yeah, we ain't going.
this
Yeah,
is very
that's good.
unserious. I'm sorry, Jess. I love you. That's very unserious. But
Yeah, no. That doesn't help the
that's
point.
not
Yeah,
serious.
no,
But I will say this.
yeah.
Here's my thing, Radell. You're saying that he has a thing to fight demons, but Guts uses he uses his skills to fight off worse demons than the demons in Demon Slayer. So that's where I'm just a little. That's where I'm a little confused here. Like
It's also like since he's marked, he's always being attacked.
Ty, can I ask you a
Always.
question? Can I ask you a question
Yeah.
about just some Berserk lore, just so I have some better understanding before I give you a rebuttal? In Berserk, like what is Guts is like? Is he just a man who's just really strong?
no, he's not.
No.
Like I'm talking about like his power, like what is his ability?
Oh yeah, he has no powers. Like he's
So
has no power.
he's a really strong human being. That's what I'm asking.
yeah, that's it. Yes,
Very
that's what I'm
tenacious. He does use
Yeah.
other weapons, to be fair.
yeah,
to
he is.
help
That's
him
what I'm
fight.
asking. So he's an
He
abnormally
also has a
strong.
cannon
Yeah,
for an
he's just-
arm as
He's
well.
an abnormally strong human being.
Yeah, and
but
yeah.
there's
and then,
okay.
but when he fights stronger opponents, like stronger demons, he had they point out like when for example this big I keep bringing this guy Zod. Zod is a freak, this insanely powerful monster,
Human hybrid monster thing,
has
man.
a sword, and when Gus was pairing, he was like, "Damn, you skilled as shit! Like what the fuck? Like that's so it's like." Nah.
The only reason I want to ask because I'm with Radell. Like I just think because of the breathing techniques, like because it's like Guts being strong, and obviously this also to me goes in with the swordsmanship. Like obviously he has skills. He has skills going in order to beat Zod, and he has to know how to be an elite fighter. But he's not fighting to me using his swordsmanship, knowing that the techniques that he's using have a major drawback throughout his fights. Like every fight that Tanjiro has, ultimately he's fighting on a timer. Just due to the fact that some of his breathing techniques he can never do, and this is obviously in order to match the strength of his opponent. That's why he's doing these breathing techniques. But to me, those techniques have such drawbacks that after he's done, that's why Tanjiro literally always is the only MC I know who always having a recovery arc, a mini recovery arc, because of how Thrax he gets after the end of every arc, because of he's fighting things that are way beyond any mortal's capabilities. That's why he's doing the techniques that he does. So that's why I will honestly give the nod to Tanjiro in that regard, because I just think the high level of difficulty that he has to deal with from a drawback sense while still being able to fight these beings that are way beyond him. But at the end of the day, I will also say, like, this is not to say Guts is not an elite fighter. I'm just giving my case for Tanjiro.
I think it's Ty, I want to ask you this real quick before you go. I think it's also the fact, obviously, there's no like ability that Guts uses, but it's also the fact, how do you feel, because it's really relying on medieval warfare? How do you feel that affects how people view his swordsmanship?
I think that people tend to undervalue when people are just powerful. For example, Ichigo is a master swordsman because he has superpowers. People think, oh, he's not a master. Like, bro, the fact that Ichigo can go against characters like a Grimjow who are way faster, but he can parry his attack with a sword shows his skill. Like,
Finish.
Like people in the chat are saying, you're talking about his feats, but not his sword skills. I'm like, bro, if he's going against powerful opponents and using his sword, that is his feats, bro. Like for example, if I pick up a sword and I can clash and counter people's attacks with my sword, that's my sword skill. Like that's why I'm a little confused. Like
no, I definitely think the monster, these abnormally strong opponents, definitely the fact that they're able to parry and dodge the abilities from these.
Yeah, I'm like
that's skill. I agree with that.
Maybe let's give him.
Think it's
that makes sense. Ty, that makes sense to me all the way. I want you to
J-Rob,
chat. Make sure you guys are dropping your vote. Guts or Tanjiro? Let us know. I know
real quick. I guess last
thing, go ahead.
The best example of maybe Guts' swordsmanship in a more traditional sense is when he fights the commander at the Battle of Daldry. And the commander's literally on a horse, mounted, armored, and he has like some kind of halberd thing that looked crazy. And Guts is fighting him on the ground, like on the ground. So he's already Guts is at a clear disadvantage, and he's still going shot for shot with him. I think that's maybe a better, more traditional example for people to watch.
Not only that, I feel like people, because one of my mutuals on Twitter, I made a video about this. I think people value like traditional Eastern swordsmanship opposed to like all different styles of swordsmanship. For example, like when you talk about like medieval stuff, you can argue like some of the medieval swordsmanship is like more like Western, and people typically, like for example, if you don't like Musashi when you're fighting, people don't value your swordsmanship skill for some weird reason. You feel me?
No, there's actually a name.
That to me is where the like, unless you look like a actual samurai, people think you're not a skilled swordsman. That to me is strange.
Which is a fair case. I actually have a name that kind of basically. I'm gonna leave that name. We'll go to the next name. You named one of the person.